Hi, everybody, and thank you for
Gave me the
joining
option
us.
to leave the meeting.
What? Oh,
Gave me,
since it's being recorded.
yeah, gave me the option to leave.
Thank you for joining us and for being here. And we're super excited to be starting up the Angel Wellness sessions again. Definitely needed, definitely helpful. Bev, who sadly cannot join us, her mother has passed away, so she's in South Africa handling some family business. But Bev, Michael, and I had a conversation about, what was that, about a month ago, 3 weeks ago or so. And we spoke about the fear of burnt out and just burning the candle at too many edges. And so we have a beautiful presentation that the doctor has created for us.
Thank you very much. And Baruch Diane Ha'emes to Bev, to Mom, and the entire family. The Federation sent a letter out recently to all the Jewish organizations in our community saying that they're concerned about staff wellness. I don't know if you saw that, Simone, or not. And they were going to be doing whatever they could to make sure that resources were available for staff. When I read this in regards to Adat Yeshurun, the shul I belong to, my wife and I belong to, I smiled because a kindness initiative has been on this long before. We've been doing these support sessions, these emotional strength rounds, if you will, for quite a while. So I'm delighted that we are ahead of the game here, and we'll continue to do so. When Simone and Bev and I spoke about a month ago or so, one of the things that Bev was very clear and passionate about was the fact that one of the pressures that angels were feeling were trying to get the members, not, is that the right word? The members to do things. And there was resistance, and they were putting up battles and pushing back and not always following through. And the angels felt a responsibility. So what I want to share with you today is a method that has been developed many, many years ago, decades ago. And it's used a great deal in counseling and psychotherapy and coaching. I am not here to train anyone to be a therapist, a coach, a counselor, or anything like that. I'm taking out the best and the most focused content from this area that I can for your benefit to use. And we'll dig into this, and let this, such a small group, we can stop and raise questions along the way. Let me share the screen if I know how to do that. Advanced, point the screen, 1 minute. View. That's not it. Wait a minute. Bingo. It worked. I can't believe it. Okay. How wonderful. All righty. So I call this MI for KI because I love those kinds of acronyms and things like that. MI stands for motivational interviewing. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of this before, but this was developed in the 1980s by a psychologist named William Miller. And it was based originally on helping people with drinking. One of the most resistant behaviors you can think of. Contact this doctor, go down and be in touch with this person, follow up here. Nothing compared to the resistance that people with alcohol addiction have typically. So motivational interviewing focuses on exploring and resolving the ambivalence that people have. I want help. No, I don't. I need you to help me. I don't want you to help me. And we hear that frequently. So this method is very different from anything coercive or externally driven to motivate people. We do not motivate people to do anything. We don't. You know, there's an old joke. How many psychologists does it take to change a person? And the answer, one. if the person is ready to be changed. It's like the old light bulb story, right? So let me define motivational interviewing in the traditional way it's been defined as a collaborative, person-centered form of guiding to elicit and strengthen motivation for change. That's what it is. It's collaborative. It's centered on the individual, and it's meant to elicit, not to push, and it's meant to strengthen the individual's own motivation for change, if he or she has any. Sometimes it's just a kvetch, and then all we're doing is listen. But if we're trying to change a person, we're going to burn out. We are going to burn out. I've been doing this for 45+ years. Long ago, I realized if my candle is going to continue to burn, it's going to burn because I'm sitting alongside of people, helping them choose to change, not changing them. Okay, whoops. Okay. Now, motivational interviewing is collaborative. There's a goal, of course. It's a way of speaking. It's not therapy. It's not coaching. It's not counseling. It's just a way of speaking with a particular attention to the language of change. Okay? It's designed to strengthen personal motivation and the client, the member's commitment to a specific goal that he or she has when they contact us by eliciting, pulling out of them, and exploring their own reasons for why they want something different in their life with an atmosphere of acceptance and compassion. This is what kindness is. Now, what are the key qualities? Number one, it's a guiding style, and it sits between just listening, or we call following, and directing, giving advice. Guiding is right in the middle between following along, I'm listening to you, and suggesting what you should do. The dirtiest word in our language, should. Number two, it's designed to empower people to change by drawing out their meaning, the importance they give, and the capacity they have to adopt a suggestion that we may have for them. And it's based on respect, kindness, curiosity, a way of being with people that helps facilitate a natural process. It, above all, honors their own autonomy. Okay? With me so far? Yes, 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 yes. Good. Let's talk about the next step. When people come to us, the Kindness Initiative, Jewish Family Service, the Gemach, whatever it is that they want help with, what they say out of their mouth and what they do with their hands and feet are two different things sometimes. So we understand that people are in a stage of readiness to change. This is really cool if you get this. So someone's talking to you. There are 5 stages of change. Number 1, someone's in the pre-contemplation stage. Yeah, I'm thinking about this. I'm not sure. I'm calling because I want to check. I'm not sure I really want to do this. Okay. Your job is to raise doubt and increase their own perception of the risks and problems if they stay where they are and don't change. Okay. And we may talk about some harm reducing strategies, but basically I hear where you are. Sounds like you're just not sure that you really want to do anything. But, you know, if you stay where you are, what do you think will happen? Number 2, they're in contemplation. They're getting ready. And this is probably where most people are when they contact the KI. The job of the angel is to weigh the pros and cons of change. And I'll show you a really cool tool for that. I work on helping them tip the balance in a good way. You explore ambivalence. You look at alternatives that they have. Look at the reasons they have for change. We don't tell them, we listen. And we increase their confidence that they can follow up on a recommendation. Then some people are in the stage of of preparation and action. They have the ability, I'm here to do it, I'm doing it. And here our job is to help them create a plan. So I suggest that you contact this agency. When do you think you might do it? Do you think it would be valuable for you if you were to write back to me or contact me again, or we have another meeting in 2 days after you say you're going to do it? Maintenance. Here's where it gets a little tricky for the angels. We want to help the client identify and use strategies to prevent sliding back. But that doesn't mean giving up our life with a call 3 times a day. It means helping them develop a strategy, not you suggesting, well, call me daily. And then relapse. Everybody slips back, whether it's in exercise or weight or whatever, dental care, mental care, auto care, getting bills taken care of. We slip because we're human beings. We're imperfect, fallible beings. Here we have to help the client renew the process of contemplating, getting ready, and getting into that action stage without becoming stuck or demoralized, without beating themselves up. Now, that's a lot to digest, and I'm glad you can get the PDF of the whole presentation. You have the recording. Let's go on. When I was talking to Bev and to Simone, I referred to something called OARS, O-A-R-S, O-A-R-S. This is the heart of why I believe motivational interviewing can be so helpful to angels in protecting themselves and dealing with clients in a really, really advanced way. 1, open questions. Draw out. The more open-ended questions, which I'll show you in a minute, the better. Evocative questions guide the client to reflect on how he or she may change. When you ask closed-ended questions, did you do this? When will you do this? What did you say? We ask open-ended questions. What were you thinking? And so forth. And how? Why? Affirmations, A. Affirmations of strength. You're doing a great job. You're doing a terrific job in handling this. Looking at past successes helps people build their hope and their confidence, which they need, especially when they're so downtrodden by the time they call and reach out. You have to swallow a lot. So they need our A, or affirmations. R, reflections. Are we listening carefully enough to what they're saying and understand what they're saying? And so we show them we are by repeating, rephrasing, offering a deeper guess about what they're trying to communicate. This is foundational. This is one of the ways we express empathy. And then S, summarizing. So let me be sure I understand the situation. Here's what you're saying, and here's what I hear you not saying. Open questions, affirmations, reflections, and summarizing. When you have this in front of you, this assures you're giving them the best quality you can give and protecting yourself. So we ask open-ended questions. The client does most of the talking. The angel has the opportunity to learn more. So I understand you're having some concerns about I said drinking, but about paying your bills. Can you tell me about that? That's an open-ended question. I understand you're having some concerns about paying your bills. How much money do you owe? Closed-ended. There may be a time for that. But the more you ask open-ended when you're in the situation with the client, the better it is. As opposed to, are you concerned about how much money you owe? Yes or no? Yes, I am. Tell me about it. Let's go on. Affirmations, compliments, this builds rapport. It validates, it supports the client. It's very effective when the client's strengths and efforts for change are noticed and affirmed. So, for example, hey, I appreciate that it took a lot of courage for you to discuss your, I'm making this up, financial issues with me today. You appear to have a lot of resourcefulness to have coped with these difficulties over the past few years. I appreciate you hanging in there with me. I appreciate this is not easy for you to have to repeat and to hear you say. Those are affirmations, okay? Next, reflections. Rephrase the statement to capture what the client is really telling you, to amplify or reinforce their desire to change in their own head. So, example. So you enjoy, let's talk about, you use the alcohol because that's a common one. You enjoy the effects of blank alcohol in terms of how it helps you unwind after a stressful day at work and helps you interact with friends without being too self-conscious, but you're all beginning to worry about the impact it's having on your health. In fact, until recently, you weren't too worried about how much you drank because you thought you had it under control. Then you found out your health has been affected and your partner said a few things that made you doubt that it's helping you at all. That's a reflection. Got it? Okay, next, summarizing. You link these discussions that you're having and check-ins with the client. So you point out discrepancies between their current situation and future goals. Very important to what we do. Example. So if it's okay with you, let me just check that I understand everything you and I have been talking about. You've been worrying about how much you've been drinking in recent months because you recognize that you experienced some health issues, and you've had some feedback from your partner, but the few times you've tried to stop have not been easy, and you're worried about you can't stop. How am I doing? Am I hearing you? The client feels like he or she has been heard. Developing discrepancy. When you explore the pros and cons with the client, if he or she can get it, this is incredibly powerful. On the one hand, you say this is important to you, but you continue to do this. Help me understand that. Okay, let me show you how this works. Here it is. It's called the decisional balance. And when Kindness Initiative Angels are equipped with being able to say, yeah, we use the decisional balance, you blow everyone out of the water, because this puts you on a level of really training in how to talk with people. Now, follow this along. This will blow you away, and apply it to yourselves, your kids, your spouses, partners, friends. What are the pros of not changing? And what are the pros of changing? So what's something good that could come from not following through on this? Well, I get to continue doing what I'm doing and be comfortable and living in this schmutz, or, whatever. I don't know. What's the pro of changing? What's something good that can come from taking this action? Well, I could live better. I could enjoy more of life. I could feel better. Now we go to just the opposite. What are the cons of not changing? What's something bad that could come from not taking this action? And then what's something bad that could come from taking this action? Do you see the crossover? What's the good about not changing? What's bad about not changing? What's good about changing and what's bad about changing? And there should be relatively a crossover. But the idea is to help the client understand that in her or his mind, they have pros about changing, pros about not changing. They have cons in their mind about not changing and cons in their mind about changing. This is very tricky. And for some people, it's too much. So you need to know how to sort of ask the questions. So what do you think what good would come from changing this behavior? Oh, this, and this. Anything that could come from good that would come from not changing? And they'll laugh and they'll think about it. Can you think of anything bad that could come if you didn't change? And can you think of anything bad that could come from changing this behavior? The idea is to get them really thinking so they hear themselves. When you want to strengthen their commitment to change, and just have a couple of more slides to show you, what are the disadvantages of the status quo? What worries you about your health? What difficulties have resulted from your present situation? In what ways does where you are concern you? And the client may say, I guess if I'm honest, if I keep this up, I'm worried my family are going to stop forgiving me for my behavior. They say that to themselves. They hear that. What are the advantages of changing? How would you like things to look in 5 years? What are the advantages you see in reducing X, Y, or Z? What would be different in your life if you lost some weight or you did this? Well, I guess, I don't know, if I lost some weight, at least I won't have to wake up feeling guilty every morning that I'm not taking care of myself. Again, that's called change talk. The client is telling herself or himself something that can motivate them to change. What about optimism for change? When you've made a significant change in your life before, how did you do it? Well, I did this. What strengths do you believe you have that would help you change now? I stopped smoking a few years ago and for a year, and I did feel better. It was really hard, but once I put my mind to something, I can do it. The client has just convinced him or herself again. And last, the intention to change. In what ways do you want your life to be different 5 years from now? Forget how you would get there for a moment. If you could do anything, what would you change now? The client might say, I never thought I'd be living like this. I want to go back to being healthy, strong, supporting myself, enough energy to enjoy friends or family. I want to manage my diabetes better, or whatever it might be. That's how you help a client to be able to say in his or her own mind that they can change. Okay, now, with that said, let's stop the screen share and come back to where we started. And let's have a little bit of a discussion. I know I just tossed a whole lot of content at you in 25 minutes, but those are the skills that worth reviewing. Look at the PDF. Simone has it, and review these 25 minutes. It's worth it, I believe. And let's talk about how you can use this, or questions you may have. Michelle or Robin, I think we lost someone else, but what thoughts do you have?
I think it was very powerful. I think earlier on, I got a little overwhelmed because there was a lot of information. But with your tangible examples, Michael, I think this is not just relevant to kindness assistance, to being an angel. It's just relevant in relationships. You just don't put 2 feet in, rather step back and listen and acknowledge, identify, reinforce, and let the person do the talking rather than jumping in. So I think this is excellent advice, and I think it might let members see what their problems are. They'll identify it themselves and see the solution themselves without you giving it to them. And I think it's very powerful.
Yeah, I agree. I think that these methods, which have been used for decades now, it takes some practice and training. And I was hoping that we have some more people, and maybe we could do some role playing perhaps. But a key to keep in mind is, am I asking open-ended questions? Am I affirming what people are saying to me? Am I repeating back and reflecting on what they're saying? And am I summarizing it? If you do that alone, that helps. And if you keep in mind your goal is to help them talk themselves into committing to change, you take that burden off yourself. The burnout comes from the responsibility that you feel you have that you really don't have. You set yourself up for that burnout. Michelle or Simone, any observations or thoughts?
Yeah, I guess this is a methodology I've been using for a long time. So it's very, very, very familiar to me, and very effective. And it works whether it's people who have everyday lives and have just some challenges, or severe challenges or not so severe challenges, and with people who actually have some serious mental problems,
Right.
and who would get very agitated from a yes, no question, but just to have a discussion and let them think and make them feel like they're part of figuring it out, really helps you get through to them. So yeah, this is stuff I've known for a long time, and it's very, very effective.
Good, good, good. Simone, as a frontline person, you hear the kinds of issues people come to the KI with. How do you see the kinds of problems they bring, and especially what we're talking about with Bev, the problems that the angels have in feeling, oh my God, I've got to solve this for the person instead of helping them solve their problem, treating them as adults who have issues to solve, not as children who have to have a parent do something for them. How do you see this fitting in?
So it's a very good question. It's very difficult because I always try to remind, like, the angels and the volunteers and even the members when they come to me, I try to remind them that they did not get to where they are overnight. And to get them out of it is not going to happen overnight either. And it is a process, and we do have to set goals, and there will be bumps along the way, and it's not going to be like a smooth, easy shot. And that being said, down to the adult thing, we have a member right now who submitted a bill for us to pay, and we accepted, and we said, okay, well, we will pay this bill knowing what all of the bills are. And then he turned around and said, actually, instead of paying the SDG&E bill, can you use the same money towards my HOA? And it was like a bait and switch, because we were going to call the SDG&E and negotiate it and not pay the full amount, but we had approved it. And then he asked for the other one instead. And it was the struggle internally was, well, this isn't what we had approved. But also, is it really up to us to tell him where the funds go? Like, we've approved the funds. So it was like a very catch-22, and like you said, treating him like an adult versus a child, and with the dignity. So it's a challenge.
Let's use that example. I wonder, Michelle, you've used this for a long time, of course, in your own work. How would you use these concepts in discussing this sort of bait and switch issue with this particular Kindness Initiative member?
I think initially when they ask you to pay the bill, I would say, okay, we're happy to pay it, and this is what we're going to do. We're going to call SDG&E. We're going to ask them to reduce the bill and figure out a method of payment so that it works for both of them and for us. So then when they come with a bait and switch, say, well, I understand what you need, and maybe the money that you would pay the SDG&E bill, you can pay that towards the HOA, and we will see if we can reduce the SDG&E bill. I think give them all the information up front might make that easier. I think in terms of the bait and switch, I think it might be appropriate in dealing with them as an adult to say, okay, we can allow that this time, but we need to talk about the situation and how it works in the future. But I think it's difficult. It's a difficult situation. And I think it depends on the person you're dealing with and the kind of relationship that the angel and member have with each other. And if this is a pattern or if this kind of is a one-time thing.
That's a very good point. Very good point. Let me suggest yet another method coming from this, as Michelle is, and that is this. So whatever his name is, Chaim, whatever. Okay. I want to understand, because initially you told us that this money was going here, and now it sounds like you want us to move the money over there. Can you tell me more about what's behind that? You hear the open-ended question? Yes, right? You do hear the open-ended question? Yes, okay. Robin, I see you nodding too. Okay, good. Okay, so tell me more about that. And then he tells you, Simone, tell me what do you think he might say? So tell me more. So you told us you wanted the money here, and now, if I understand correctly, you're saying you want the money there. So notice I'm summarizing and reflecting, right? And I'm asking the open end, tell me about that. And he says,
I don't know.
okay, so yeah, he says something like, no, look, I just need the money there. I don't know what I was thinking. I was confused. Or no, the more I thought about it, the more I realized the money needs to go there instead of the other. That we can deal with. Okay, so I wonder, let's talk about this. I wonder if you have any thoughts about the position that might put us in terms of dealing with the SDG&E and then your HOA. If he says, I don't give a damn, well, okay. So it sounds like, you really don't really care about where we are. We do certainly care about serving you in every way we can. Let's see okay. And now, do you get the difference? It's going in a very different direction than telling him, well, we can't, or you're hurting. It's always that open-ended question that's pulling more and more. There may come a time where there is an answer, yes or no. We can't do it, or we will do it, or whatever. But you want to try to help him with these open questions. Does that make some sense?
Yeah. I'm like playing it through in my head, but yes, it does make some sense.
Yeah, you can play it through. And there's not a member that you're dealing with where this will not help. You always have the right to say yes or no at the end of the day, but you don't have the right to say you should, because they're entitled to do whatever they want. We want to help them make their own wise, healthy decision. So when you ask him, so tell me about what's changed, it may make some sense. Oh, well, we didn't realize that. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Let's see if we can do that for you. Or it may make no sense. Maybe he's a gonif and he's just really baiting and switching. And so you might say, I wonder, have you found yourself in a position like this before? What do you mean? Well, where you want to put money one place and then suddenly you need it to move to the other and you have to shift it out. Has that ever happened with you before? Or how has that happened before with you? One is closed, one is open. Good example. Really good example.
What we did end up doing is getting a financial planner. So we've said, let's discuss with a financial planner, and you meet with them, and then together you guys decide where it's best to pay off the debt. So it's kind of the way we worked our way around it.
So even and I'm sorry, more are not hearing it, but even getting the financial planner. So I might say there's two ways to go. Okay, what we can do is get you a financial planner, and we have a time for you to meet with him 2:00 on Tuesday. Great, okay. And then he doesn't show because he has ambivalence that wasn't dealt with. So you might say, what do you think would help in this situation? I don't know. That's why I'm calling you. Okay, well, I wonder, do you think perhaps a financial planner might be of help to you? I never thought of that. Well, what is it you think of that? What is it you do think of that? Now, if he says yes right away, I wouldn't bolt on that. I might say, tell me a little bit about experiences you've had with financial planners in the past. I haven't had none. Okay, I'm wondering then, can you tell me, as you think about it, how do you think a financial planner might help? All aimed at cementing in his mind, this is going to help. So then you might say, okay, so it sounds like what you're saying is that you believe a financial planner might help. Would you like us to get one for you? That's a yes or no closed-ended question. But he's in charge. They're very different than saying, sounds like you need a financial planner. We can get one for you.
Yeah.
The less you tell and the more you pull out and have them tell, the better it's going to be.
Interesting. That was really helpful. Thank you.
It's a great example. Great example. Okay, so what else? Other thoughts about dealing with our clients lately and some of the pressures that you're dealing with and how this approach might take the burden off of the angel and put the responsibility where it really belongs with the individual.
I just want to say, I think that every angel, every angel, and especially every new angel that comes in, should have this before they start. Should read it, should have it, maybe even have a discussion, should go over it again and again, just to cement it in their minds before they actually become an angel. Because, and I'm sure it's different from when I started, but when I started, there was no kind of structure as to what we should or shouldn't be doing, what we could or couldn't do. And I think this would be incredibly beneficial to all the new angels and to the angels who've been around for a while.
Well, we're recording this. We definitely will be sharing the video and we'll have the slides. I'll email it all out probably this afternoon or tomorrow morning.
Okay.
I think that
this is a great tool.
I appreciate you saying that, Michelle, because even requiring this as part of the toolkit for angels means we're really making sure that they have some protection within themselves, for themselves.
Right.
And
it's very easy to say the wrong thing because you're dealing with people who are very vulnerable, who are very scared, and very defensive.
And also, Michelle, I'm sure you've seen this in your own work. Helpers want to help.
Yeah.
So I want to do this for you. Great. But that doesn't mean you want me to do this for you, whether you're going to pick up and go with it. I truly believe that if people are using this kind of an approach, that the reflection that members have as they leave will be enhanced, and they'll feel better about the work of KI that's being done with them.
Yeah.
I want to comment, don't you think, and this is especially for Simone, that we're at a point now where sufficient has changed and developed and progressed that we need totally new training overall, because we've changed some volunteer roles as well. And maybe by learning from Michael's presentations what additional information is so relevant, maybe this should be incorporated into a new training for angels who come on board.
I was just thinking that, Robin. I mean, with the angel structure is working, we just need more angels, but the other structures are being recreated. And so once they're a little bit more finalized and we actually know which way we're going, I do think we need to redo the whole training.
Right. And maybe now we are in a position where it can be in person, which is just much nicer and more personable than doing it online.
Yeah. Are all three of you comfortable doing in person now?
I am.
Yeah.
You are.
I still am not going into my office. I haven't been in my office since, I don't know, a year and a half, almost 2 years. All of my sessions are Zoom. or phone. But I know that some of the professional conferences that I'm invited to speak at are all in person now.
Mhm.
In fact, what they're doing is they're having, like, I'm giving 7 talks at the Society of Hematology group coming up. They're pre-recording all 7, but they're still having me come to Atlanta to give them in person. So it's just exactly this. You're comfortable coming? Great. We have it for you.
Right.
So, I'm happy coming in, doing it in person.
I think, I mean, I know that we have 2 more scheduled, but I do think we should look into doing it in person.
Mhm.
And take precautions. I mean, we're not going to be
Mhm.
reckless. We're still going to be very
Yeah. There's just something about in person, the interactions you get, they're just more personable
It's more of
and
a
we could get more
discussion,
done.
each person talking individually somehow.
Mhm.
No, and also you can see each other, and you can read the body language, and you can
Right.
see a smile or a move on the face, and you can say, Robin, you seem to be reacting, that kind of thing. And so, yeah, in person can't be beat.
No.
This is second best, but it works.
I'm going to a conference this weekend in Indian Wells. I'm very
Oh.
comfortable being in person.
In person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone been vaccinated and all that stuff.
Everyone's been vaccinated. Everybody's, in fact, a lot of people have had the booster already. It's a medical conference. Everybody
Oh.
has to have a negative COVID test before they go in. It's,
What do
Yeah.
you we had to show our COVID passport, whatever they're calling it, to
Mhm.
get
Mhm.
into the conference. So if it's a medical conference, they're doing everything right.
Right.
What medical conference, may I ask?
Basil works for Sharpry Steely,
Oh,
and they take the physicians, spouses, and kids on a weekend
oh,
every year to the
beautiful.
Hyatt Indian Wells. So
Oh, that's gonna be-
we missed it last year, but we're going this year. So they have conference and then they have activities for the spouses and kids. And I often attend the conference because I get CME, so it
Right.
works.
Right. This is great. That's terrific.
Mm.
Oh, yeah, I think we can look at something in person. But also respecting the fact that people are still not necessarily comfortable. So we record. Oh, okay. I'm not gonna
You
say it.
can take it.
No, that's okay. But what I was going to say is, what I was going to say was that respecting the fact that people still may not be comfortable, so you record it so
Mhm.
that it stands available for people who just weren't comfortable.
Mhm.
Yeah. I'll have to look into that. I don't know if we'll start next month or we'll wait till the new year, but we'll definitely
Oh.
look into doing it.
Yeah, maybe wait till the new year and then
Year up.
Mhm.
start fresh. Yeah. Give the holiday season a chance to demonstrate that the COVID rates are still going down. Because if
Mhm.
they pop back up, that's going to be a bad sign for people.
Mhm.
Well, I'm glad that this was of value and that the content is something that we recognize needs to be applied completely. Michelle, I love what you said about how easy it is to say the wrong thing. I hear it in trainees all the time. Yeah, no, I'm really working hard. And I made this person see, I said, stop. What did you just say? No, I didn't make the person sick, but they still believe it. It's not in there yet. Or she made me so angry. Wait, what? She made. So you're right. We have to look at the real fine tuning of this.
Mhm. Yeah. And this takes a lot of practice.
Yes.
It can sound very kind of rehearsed if you're not careful when you ask these open-ended questions. It's got to
Mhm.
become natural, and that takes a lot of practice.
I was just doing some work for a group, and one of the persons is learning to be a coach. Oh my goodness. Can you hold on a moment, please? Let's
Sure.
just one moment. Hello.
Okay.
How are you?
Better now. I had a rough couple of weeks, but I'm better now.
Okay.
Everybody around me seems to be very ill or dying at very young ages. And it was
Mhm.
just, it was a rough few weeks. But I'm
Oh,
feeling a
Is
lot.
everybody okay?
No, the ones who are very ill or dying are not okay. My immediate family is fine.
Okay.
But I don't know if you know Danny Friedlander. Friedland, he's a cousin of mine. He just died from a glioblastoma at 56.
Oh,
Oh.
gosh.
Wow.
And Dalia Rubin's nephew at 20 is in ICU on ECMO. He just suddenly stopped breathing. And of course, your cousin Josh
Mhm.
is,
That's your Simone?
Josh, yeah, he's married to my cousin.
yeah, married to Romy. I'm very friendly with Shirley and Robert.
This
I'm
is a
going
different
through that
Josh.
thing with them.
What's
Yeah,
Josh's last name?
My cousin Josh Rothstein.
Oh, no, it's a different one, because there's that Josh Gaffin.
I heard he passed away.
Yeah, he died from a drug overdose.
Or was it an OD? I didn't know what it was from. I had just
Yeah.
heard.
Tragic. I mean, that was just awful. Yeah.
There just seems to be so